Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time joining me, you're welcome. I welcome you with all of my heart. And if you're yet to subscribe, please do well to hit the subscribe button. I can assure you that in this channel, you'll be learning a lot of new things concerning your health and better ways to take care of your health, better ways to take your drugs, and what to do and what not to do while taking your drugs. Today we're going to be talking about antibiotics. This month is antimicrobial awareness month, and I'm really glad that I had this opportunity to tell you about possible mistakes you could be making while taking your antibiotics. So today we're just going to be talking about the do's and don'ts when taking antibiotic drugs. Join me as we go on this smooth journey, which is going to be having quite a bit of disclaimers just in case you've been doing it. And I hope I hope you're ready to change your ways, because some of these things can be quite dangerous for your health, and I care about you and I want you to live long. So join me today as we talk about antibiotics and their possible do's and don'ts. Here we go. So when antibiotics were discovered, it was one of the greatest discoveries as of that time in medicine, because lots of people were going down with tuberculosis and different bacterial infections, and they seemed to be very severe because at that time they didn't really have anything to fight these infections, and people were dying even when there could be a possible cure. So imagine a loved one, going down with tuberculosis, as at that time it was looked at as a disease like COVID or Ebola. You know how Ebola outbreak happened and COVID outbreak happened, how people were fretting, and if they hear their family member had it, they were so scared because they were scared they were going to say goodbye. That's exactly how it was in those days with bacterial infections. But then there was a discovery of antibiotics, and of course, God blessed scientists that discovered it. When these antibiotics were discovered, common bacterial infections that could have been severe were no longer severe, so people were able to treat them. And if a loved one had tuberculosis, it didn't mean that they had to tell the person goodbye for life. It meant that the person had a chance of survival because there were antibiotics that could take care of that. But now, a lot of people usually use antibiotics improperly these days, which is beginning to increase the level of resistance of bacteria to antibiotics. Now, usually when you go for a test, you see that in the lab, they usually test which antibiotic is best for you to take. That's why you're always advised to go for a test before you take antibiotics. So when you go to a lab and you do a test when there is an infection, if you look at your result, you see that they actually tested drugs with the bacteria that is causing the infection, and you notice that some of them will be written resistant under some drugs. It was not supposed to be so, but because of the improper use of antibiotics over time, bacteria is beginning to be resistant. Bacteria like staphylococcus and all of that, they are beginning to be resistant to the antibiotics that is normally supposed to kill them, and which is very dangerous. If this continues, a common infection that could be taken care of by an antibiotic can kill someone. Yes, the infection can kill the person because the person has used antibiotics so much so that the person is now resistant to all the antibiotics that are supposed to kill that particular infection. Which brings me to the do's and don'ts when you're taking your antibiotics. Please listen, and I hope you implement it in your day-to-day life as you take your antibiotics, because it is very important. We do not want a situation whereby antibiotics can no longer cure common infections as they are supposed to, which is very, very dangerous. We all want to live a long life. As they say, health is wealth, so we have to be very careful how we take these drugs. When your pharmacist or doctor tells you a regimen, when I mean regimen, I mean they give you an antibiotic and they tell you how to take it. Example, take 2 in the morning, take 2 in the evening. Please make sure to stick to that medication plan, because if you don't, you're actually reducing the dose that is appropriate to kill that bacteria. And if you keep reducing the dose, you are training the bacteria to get used to the drug and then do a change in its genetic makeup that can completely stop the drug from killing it. So if your doctor says take 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, please stick to it. If antibiotics should be taken at specific times. For example, if your doctor says every day take it at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. in the evening, please do well to stick to that timing so the antibiotic can be evenly distributed in your system and have its effect. A lot of people a lot of people do this. A lot of people, especially those people that don't like taking drugs. I'm watching you. I am watching you. Hear my voice in your head. Where if you are one of those people that do it anytime you're planning to do it, if you know that you always stop taking your antibiotics whenever you feel better. Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. This message is for you. Please stop it, because you're also increasing the occurrence of resistance and it is very dangerous. Please, even if you feel better, keep taking your antibiotics for the number of days that your pharmacist or your doctor asks you to take these antibiotics. Take it judiciously and religiously till the very last day they asked you to take it. And if by chance you have any remaining drugs after taking this, please dispose of it. Do not share with family members. Do not share with your children. Do not share with anybody around you. Somebody says I'm sick, you be like, I have antibiotics, please come and take. No, that's not what we do here. You dispose of it if it's remaining and make sure you take it to the very, very last day, because you're not the person's doctor. You don't, just because the person has cough and catarrh, I repeat, just because the person has cough and catarrh does not mean that it's bacterial infection. Just to let you know, most respiratory infections like cough, stuffy nose, catarrh, and all of that are actually caused by viruses. So taking antibiotics is actually not helping. And another thing I would love us to know is that there's something called the natural flora of the system. This natural flora, that bacteria that help your system work normally. Like you have bacteria in your intestines that help with digestion of food. You have bacteria, for ladies, you have bacteria in your vagina that help balance the pH level and of course checkmate the level of yeast you have to keep your vagina healthy. So if you keep taking antibiotics when you do not need to take them, you begin to kill the natural flora in your body, hence disrupting the normal processes that your body is supposed to go through. You begin to have recurring yeast infections. So if you know that you're one of those people that anything that just happens, boom, you just run and you can't take antibiotics, please stop it. And then I heard a rumor, let's do a disclaimer, that some people usually take antibiotics like a tablet of Bicham or any antibiotics, augmentin, immediately they finish having sex to prevent pregnancy. Please, who gave you the idea that antibiotics is pill? Please, if you know you've been doing it, stop it. If you need a contraceptive, go to the hospital and do family planning. Or you can, of course, get oral contraceptives, like the morning after pill, of which most of us know about. So you do not abuse antibiotics. And who told you that if you take a tablet of antibiotics after sex, it prevents STIs? That is so wrong. Please, if you are one of the people that is doing this, please stop it, because it is wrong. It's drug misuse and it could be dangerous for you when you actually go down with a bacterial infection. And the drug you've been abusing is the particular drug that is supposed to cure the disease. It becomes fatal because the bacteria has become resistant. And you know the most dangerous part of this is the fact that you keep passing this resistant strain. If by chance you give it to somebody else, it's the resistant strain and it keeps passing along and along to different people, and then it keeps going on and on and on, and then the resistant strain keeps spreading, and before you know it, a lot of people are down with this resistant strain, and then the drug no longer works. So please, please, please stop it. Also, if you know you're one of those people that used to take alcohol after taking drugs, let me tell you something. Do not take flagyl with alcohol. Generally, don't even take your drugs with alcohol. It reacts, especially flagyl. It actually causes something called a disulfiram-like reaction in your system, and it's not good for you. So do not take flagyl or any antibiotic with alcohol. Please do not give tetracycline to any child below 12 years of age. And if you're a breastfeeding mother, please do not take tetracycline because it's not good for your child. It will cause coloring of their teeth. And also, if you're pregnant in your first trimester, it is not advisable to take tetracycline because it affects the bone formation of your children or your child. Now let's go down to the food you're supposed to take and food you're not supposed to take with antibiotics. For those of you that say, I cannot use water to take, I cannot use water to take drugs, so please, this is for you. Try and use water to take your antibiotics, because if you take it with fruit juice or milk or any dairy product at all, like cheese, butter, yogurt, and any of that, it affects the absorption of the antibiotic, and it usually reacts and it forms a complex that is not properly absorbed by the body, which can increase toxicity in your body. So please do not take milk when you're taking antibiotics. Do not take yogurt, do not take cheese, do not take butter. If you really must take these things, then you have to take it 3 hours apart. You take your milk, yogurt, or whatever dairy product you're taking 3 hours before the antibiotic, or the antibiotic 3 hours before the dairy product. And lastly, if you're taking antibiotics, please ask your pharmacist, I'm taking this drug, can they be taken together, the antibiotic and the drug you're taking? Because some drugs do not work well when they are taken together. You know you're taking any blood thinning drugs like warfarin or antacids, please do not take antibiotics with them. You have to ask your pharmacist with the what time difference you can use to take these drugs. You can take it 2 hours apart. 2 hours apart or 3 hours apart, better still. So talk to your pharmacist if you're taking any other drug while you're taking antibiotics. So your pharmacist or your doctor can tell you, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can alternate, or they can even change the drug for you, because drug interactions can be very fatal. So okay, yeah. And if you're wondering what scrub I'm wearing, as you can see, it's written Koinonia Medics on it. I am a volunteer at Koinonia Global. I'm part of the medical team, so you can always join us every Sunday by 5 p.m. and I can assure you that you will be glad you did. You can search for Koinonia Global or Koinonia Abuja on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or even Twitter, and you can join us for our live services. And it starts by 5 p.m. every Sunday. I hope you learned something new today. Thank you for joining me, and please do well to share, like, and if you're yet to subscribe, please do well to hit the subscribe button. Remember to hear my voice in your head if you're one of those people that does any of the things I mentioned in this video. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a wonderful day.